It's only been a few weeks since we saw Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, and Jabari Smith Jr. battle it out for positioning up top in the NBA draft, but this early, there's already a lot of significant buzz surrounding next year's 2023 NBA draft generated by most fans and media outlets alike, which of course makes a lot of sense, because next year marks the time we're in, basketball's next generational prospect and probably the NBA's next great star will enter the league in the form of 7'3" French phenom Victor Wembanyama. Well, Wembanyama is a guy who most NBA scouts have touted as someone with otherworldly combinations of size, two-way skill, and athleticism. But all the fascination about Wembanyama's game doesn't just end on paper, cause watching his film, it becomes even more apparent that he is indeed a 2K My player come to life, a 7'3" cheat code, and the best young prospect on the planet today all rolled into one. Cause on defense, he uses his 7'3" frame and 7'9" wingspan together with his insane mobility for his size in order to block shots from anywhere on the floor. And on offense, he's flashed tremendous amount of skill by splashing 3-pointers, draining pull-up mid-range jumpers, and crashing the rim with emphatic dunks, all while only being 18 years old. Well, a lot of basketball fans started generating attention towards Wembanyama during his stint for the French national team in last year's FIBA Under-19 World Cup wherein, during the gold medal game against a USA team which featured guys like Chet Holmgren and Jaden Ivey, Victor Wembanyama notably put up an impressive stat line of 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 blocks in just 27 minutes of action. Then, just this past season, Wembanyama played professionally for ASVEL both in the Euroleague and in the LNB Pro A, which is the top-tier French basketball league. And across 13 Euroleague games, Wembanyama did average 6.5 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 1.9 blocks, while shooting 34.8% from the field and 30% from 3, which stats definitely might not look impressive. But we have to remember that this guy only played less than 18 minutes per game and is putting up those stats as an 18-year-old while competing against grown men in the EuroLeague, which is considered the second best professional basketball league on the planet. Although last March 23 of this year, Wembanyama did play probably his best all-around game of the season versus Zalgiris as he put up 14 points, 5 rebounds, 5 blocks, 2 assists, and 2 steals on 85.7% shooting while playing 29 minutes in that game, which stat line more or less represents the kind of all-around impact that Wembanyama will bring on the court as he further matures and as he makes his way into the NBA. So what's good guys, it's Real Balls here, and today we'll look into why NBA teams are already tanking for Victor Wembanyama. But before we continue, please make sure to hit that like button or to click that subscribe button if you do enjoy the video. It only takes a second of your time, but it will be much appreciated. So let's get to it. Right off the bat, we have to talk about the physical tools when evaluating Victor Wembanyama, because standing 7'3" with a reported 7'9" up to 7'10" wingspan, Wembanyama's size really looks one of a kind, with Rudy Gobert, Boban Marjanovic, and Mark Williams probably being the only ones in the NBA to come close to those kinds of measurements that Victor has. Well, to be fair, Wembanyama also looks kinda skinny for a guy who's at least 7 feet tall, just like Chet Holmgren, but unlike Holmgren, I think Wembanyama has a relatively well-proportioned 235-pound frame. But of course, at the end of the day, it's not just all about the insane length and frame, and it's more about how he's able to use those tools to his advantage. The good thing is, Wembanyama knows how to combine his ridiculous size with his solid timing in order to effectively block shots, as he actually led the EuroLeague this past season with almost 2 blocks per game. Mind you though, Wembanyama isn't just some big man who you would want to keep as an interior defender, because he's also got great body coordination and mobile feet, which enables him to actually guard smaller players in the perimeter. Watching his film, you could really see why scouts are projecting him to become both a game-changing rim protector and a switchable isolation defender in the NBA. Here, Wembanyama smothers the ball handler to prevent a shot attempt, then you see how his interior presence forces the next offensive player to give up the ball, and then finally, Victor just stifles the dunk attempt by the rim attacker with a full head of steam. Here, watch Wembanyama defend in space. He slides his feet to the left, and as his man tries to cross him up, watch how he recovers and flips his hip to the right before using his size to eventually smother the ball handler right at the rim. But my favorite types of defensive plays that Wembanyama makes are probably those ones wherein he blocks jumpers on one end before he continues to run and finish the play with a fast break dunk on the other. Because those defense to offense kinds of sequences really show how Wembanyama is able to create chaos on both ends of the floor in just a matter of seconds. And because overall, just witnessing a 7'3" center like him running the full length of the floor after a defensive stop is just really a fascinating sight to begin with. Here, you can see Wembanyama staying low while guarding his man in space. Watch how he times the step back attempt to block the shot, and from there, he just takes off, catches the ball on the fast break, and just finishes off with a vicious dunk. Then this time, you see Wembanyama defending a ball screen. Then once he switches, you see him block the ball handler while barely jumping off the ground. Then again, he takes off for the fast break, and from there, there's just nothing the defense can do in order to stop the big man's attack on the other end. So as you can see, this early in his career, Wembanyama looks like he could enter the NBA and already be effective as a big man who can defend multiple ball screen coverages, off-ball sets, and even isolation schemes, which is totally crazy for a guy with this kind of ridiculous physical measurements. But things start to even get more intriguing when you look at the stuff that this guy can do on offense. Well, clearly with his size and length, Wembanyama is able to catch practically every lob pass thrown his way before he slams the ball at the rim. But more than that, I really think what makes him the perfect kind of role man in today's NBA is the fact that he actually has a very wide catch radius and that he also isn't afraid of making contact when setting screens. Right here, you see Wembanyama setting a ball screen for the ball handler, then again he sets a second ball screen, then watch just how hard he rolls towards the basket, catching the ball on his way up as he puts the interior defender on a poster. Then here, Wembanyama executes a handoff play from the side, and as he rolls to the rim, just watch how he times his jump to catch the lob pass with one hand before throwing it down in front of a defender. Well, the thing is, in today's NBA, which heavily relies on a pace and space type of game, without a doubt, Wembanyama would still be considered an outstanding prospect even if he didn't actually shoot three-pointers. But the thing is, as a professional basketball player for the past 2 seasons in Europe, Wembanyama has actually been very comfortable launching shots from behind the arc. And although his shooting potential still isn't reflected in his percentages, as he's only shot 31% from 3 during his 2-year professional career, I think the fact that he's attempting 5.4 3-pointers per 36 minutes is already a very encouraging sign, especially for a big man. Plus, watching his film, you can see that Wembanyama also clearly has a very nice release and real NBA range to his jumper, and most importantly, because of his size and length, it also seems like he can just shoot over anyone from the perimeter. Overall, Wembanyama's promising 3-point arsenal was in full display in a game against AX Milan last April in the Euroleague, wherein he drained 4 out of his 5 3-point attempts. Well, looking at it, elite NBA big men like Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid both have turned into good career 3-point shooters on decent volume, and while Giannis Antetokounmpo still hasn't developed his outside shot yet, the thing is, Giannis has never really displayed the type of shooting touch that Wembanyama already has in the first place. So I think it's not that hard to imagine Victor Wembanyama being at least a 35% 3-point shooter on at least 4 attempts per game in the NBA. But things get even crazier when you look into the fact that Wembanyama has also displayed comfort as an on-ball shot creator while playing in Europe. I think it's just really ridiculous watching how a 7'3" guy like him can have this kind of balance and coordination with the ball in his hands, whether he's creating step-back jumpers or attacking the rim off straight-line drives. Just like here, as he receives the ball, you see Wembanyama with a pump fake, then he just attacks the closeout, goes for the behind-the-leg dribble and the slide post-up before he drains the smooth 19-foot turnaround jumper. Here, from the corners, Wembanyama uses the quick jab before he just attacks the baseline using his long strides before overpowering 2 defenders for the vicious dunk. Then here, as he gets the ball at the elbows, you see Victor with a pump fake and a quick sidestep before he goes for the beautiful step back, which appears to be virtually unguardable. Well, without a doubt, the fact that a 7'3" guy like Wembanyama has both the offensive skills of a wing player and the defensive abilities of a modern NBA big man at 18 years of age already makes him look like a generational type of talent. But for sure, you could still expect critics to question how the game of an overseas player like him will translate to the quicker pace of the NBA. The good thing is, with Wembanyama, I think those worries aren't really warranted. Cause over the past few years, guys like Luka Doncic and LaMelo Ball have actually proven that teenagers who display a certain level of comfort while playing in top overseas leagues really tend to shine in the NBA even as rookies. Plus, I think it's also hard to confuse Wembanyama with European big man prospects of the past like Dragan Bender or Darko Milicic, since those guys obviously didn't have, at the very least, the tools and the defensive talents of Wembanyama. At the end of the day, there's a reason why NBA scouts and fans alike have already been creating so much buzz about this guy 1 year even before he enters the NBA draft, and that is because Victor Wembanyama really looks like the type of talent who just doesn't come around very often, and who also looks like the type of player that NBA franchises could build around for a very long time. So which team do you guys think is gonna be the most ideal fit for Victor Wembanyama? Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this is Real Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.